Boom. All right. Do we do that right? Is everything coming through here? It seems to be. I can both hear myself and see myself. So we're going to count that as a win. We're just going to do a little twittering. Looks like the name didn't. Oh no, name changed. Come, hang out. I'm so original with my tweets. No wonder I'm famous on the internet. Okay, so that's good. So I certainly am not still setting things up in the background because it's a nice, beautiful, sunny day here and I fell asleep outside. That's definitely not what happened. So if everyone can definitely not bear with me because I still need to set a few things up here. No way I would ever do that. So how's everyone's weekend anyway? I'm looking at some FX trades that I got on the go. Really nothing going on there. I got a comment that someone's always on the edge of their seat for what I'm in for FX. So I've got at least one guy, straighten that out a bit, that trades FX as well. Okay, perfect. So if you are new here, welcome. My name is Michael Noss. I'm a chartered market technician and I'm a quantitative trader. So what we do each and every week is I sit down, I hang out, we talk about charts. I'm going to go through the crypto markets, the FX markets, the equity markets, both for individual names and for the markets as a whole. We'll chat about all of that. We'll try to find some names that we think we can make money off next week. As always, this is a kind of a preview, I guess, for lack of better terms, for what the Stats Edge Pro members get every day, except they don't have to listen to me ramble on for an hour. They just get the output of the work. So as you see me, take it and annotate screenshots, just know that's what it's for. Stats Edge Pro, basically you get a wrap up of my thoughts of the market given to you. Okay. My trade ideas is having a bad time. Maybe. We can deal with that if we have to. Okay. And we're into it. And it's too far over. There. Right there. Perfect. Shrink me a little bit. Okay, we're good to go. It's certainly worth it to have that nap. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll deal with that later off stream. I always have backups. So, you can see crypto behind me, which we always start with crypto. And oh my God, this is just a choppy nightmare. It's an absolute chop fest, this thing. I feel bad because it's one of those things that traders have a really bad time when it comes to different things in chop, right? It's like investors have a bad time when the market's falling, and I feel bad for them for sure. The traders are the ones that have a real bad time when we're doing this kind of choppy stuff, where let's take off these anchored VWAP automatic drawing. Yeah, these two. So, right, we all kind of know the tale here of Bitcoin. Doesn't really shock us. You can see my prior note there. I'm just going to refresh this. Make sure that's doing as 10. But yeah, so we all know the tale. 30,000 was huge forever. I've been talking about this for a long time. Let's turn off full screen. There we go. I've been talking about this $30,000 level forever, and it just continues to be a bit of a chop fest since it broke that. So, right, we were looking at 30,000 here since, when's this? January 2021. It broke that, and then we were hoping for some sort of move one way or the other. I got some hellos here. Hello. And hiya. And hi. So yeah, sorry, it took me a bit to get set up there. It was just very nice day. It was a good day to be out. You can kind of see I got like a little gazebo there with a like one of those outdoor sectional things, and I fell asleep. So yeah, so we broke down 30,000, and then we've just been chopping. And this has been kind of the note that I've had for the Stats Edge Pro members for a while now, because there's really nothing to add, right? We're dealing with the top right here. Take out this and this. We've been dealing with this top, which you can call 22,000. We've been dealing with the bottom, which you can call, I don't know, 18, 19,000. And we've just been chopping around that ever since. We have this anchored VWAP from this recent high that, may come into play around through here. Moral of the story when it comes to crypto is I'm certainly not going to buy until we're kind of back above 30,000, or we drop significantly off that and put some sort of a bullish type pattern in there. This isn't it for me. Doesn't, right? And obviously I'm a technical analyst. I don't believe that anything that I say is kind of absolute. Anything can certainly happen. However, it's it is what it is, right? It's a bear flag until proven otherwise. I can just extend these out a bit, but for now it's just choppy. So this is kind of why, if you wanted to play this, the only thing I could think of is you could lean against this level to initiate a short, and then maybe as it breaks out of this, you could get that that push lower. Right? I'm not gonna bet on that. No reason not to, right? You're going to take a shot. It's going to be, you're wrong if it gets kind of probably over this wick here at 23. So you're short at 21. So you're risking 2,000 a coin. And then if you're right and it gets to the bottom here and pushes lower, maybe there's a play to be had there. But when things are kind of congesting like this, I just write a note that says chop, chop, chop. And I already have a alert that if it breaks down, I'll be alerted. And if it breaks up, I'll be alerted. And other than that, I'll just kind of look at it once a day like I continue to do. Let's actually just open up my crypto list. So this is a list. And again, links in the description below for Stats Edge Pro, which I've talked about a few times already. But also all of the tools you see me here. I use TrendSpider for my Forex and my crypto. And then I use Trade Ideas for my equity trading, which should be opening up here. Just like that. Perfect. So this is my equity trading software. I find each has their pros and cons. TrendSpider, I really like their drawing tools a lot better. I hope, and I'm trying to direct Trade Ideas to kind of up their game when it comes to drawing tools. And then obviously I have to use TrendSpider for Forex and FX because they don't have those. So just scrolling through some of these names, right? So this file looks the same. Ocean looks the same. Ape. Actually some relative strength here in Ape, which is hilarious. Hey, how's it going? Oh, see, I was just talking about how nice it is, but that's not Florida nice. That's Canada nice. So you would probably be out there freezing to death. So really, what I'm doing when I look at when I look at crypto now is if Bitcoin is going to bounce, I want to look at cryptos that are holding up the best, right? No different from anything else that I ever trade. It all has to do with relative strength and relative strength trading, so that it's to make sure that I believe my concept with relative strength is that if, call crypto the index, then if crypto moves higher, then I believe being in the strongest names are going to be the things that make you the most amount of money. And vice versa. If crypto starts to tank, if you can short something that's relatively weak to crypto, then I think that's your best bet. But I didn't see anything there. Some names I was watching that I'll just check is Mana. Just holding up a little bit better, putting in this kind of potential bottoming pattern right there. Potential. And then the other one was Sand USD. And just FYI, I have no idea what any of these coins do, right? I treat these as, I'll make this note as well, but I treat these very much just like, I treat this very much like a equities, right? Where it's just, let me look for relative strength. Let me look for relative strength versus an index. And for me, I kind of look at the overall market as an index. So for this, right, it's Bitcoin, right? If there has to be an index for crypto, it's got to be Bitcoin, right? It's got to be the kind of the bellwether that's going to help us pick the direction of everything else. It's kind of the way I look at it, right? Hey, Stradalorian. So, guys, the Stradalorian and I are doing some cool, the strat related stuff in Trade Ideas, where he's kind of helping us out as the main man when it comes to this kind of thing. And we are going to do a cool little YouTube series that will be on my channel, and I'm sure his channel if he has one, and Trade Ideas channel, where we're going to look at essentially trading. He's going to teach me the strat, right? Me as someone who's, a chartered market technician, and I've traded for many, many years, and I've got my own style and methods. I think there's always some value of learning other people's, right? And so I do a lot of the kind of algorithmic building and things for Trade Ideas. So I thought it'd be cool if he could teach me about that. So I think that's going to be a cool little series that you can stay tuned to the channel for sure. How do you build up a small account? Well, I would argue you build up a small account the same way you grow a larger account and the same way you trade for income. And that's, you develop a trading plan. You stick very closely to that trading plan and just, right, never waver, good risk management. There's no, you do this when you're small and then you do that when you're big. I don't think that's for people who kind of take, in my opinion, unusually large risks when they have a small account as well. And do I do account challenges? I'm actually thinking of doing, and I ran this by the room and I got good reception. I've always been, I've done some live trading on the channel, but I find it's like really hard to, here's been my thing. Is this muted? No, it's still going. Okay. So here's been my thing with live trading is that you're kind of damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, right? So if you go back on my channel, I did some of this before where I would take a swing trade and I would kind of time lapse. This is the thing that I did to get into the trade. Here's how I managed it. Here's how I exited. The problem with that is that either you don't show your losers, which I don't like because every trader has them, and anyone who says they don't are just lying to you. But the losers make for really shit content where it's like, hey, I bought this I bought this trade, and then it just immediately got stopped out, right? Like I bought the stock at 10, I put my stop at 9, it hit 9, I got stopped out, and I moved on. It's like that's really a lame thing for me to make a video on, right? And to put the effort of making a video in. So what I think I'm going to do, it's funny, if you can zoom, I don't know. No, I've got depth of field on, but if you zoom in there, it actually says profit and loss, which is what I think I'm going to name the series, where in every video I'm going to do, here is a good trade and here's a bad trade. So that way I can still show the losers, but they're going to be at the latter half of the video. And because again, every loser is going to be the same. It's going to be, right, I bought the stock here, I put out stop loss got hit, I got taken out, right? It's just, so that's kind of my way around it. So I don't really do account challenges, but that's one video series I was thinking of. Another one, and this is for my Canadian friends out there, is, so I had a child recently, and I want to set up an RESP for him. So it's for you Americans, it's basically like an IRA kind of thing that you guys have, but it's based on education, right? So saving for so-and-so's education. The reason I want to do it is because the government will match up to like 7,500, I think, that I put into the account to pay for his education, which I think would be great. So I was thinking of like just, setting an auto deposit of like $500 a month, using something like TI Strength that's like really boring, but really, really consistent, and do that. But the problem is I can't find a broker that's good that will let me do my own RESP trading, right? So I looked at Interactive Brokers that I think just doesn't even have the accounts, or you have to use their stuff. I looked at Quest Trade, where you definitely have to use their stuff. I looked at Wealth Simple, which Wealth Simple is kind of like our Robinhood, but you have to do their stuff. And it's like, so then I'm left with like Scotiabank, who I bank with, but they want like $10 a trade. And if I put in, $200, which the Stradalorian here, he's going to know this exact thing, right? So if I do that, the $208.33 a month for the max grant, and I'm paying $10 to get into a trade and $10 to get out of a trade, that's just insanity. So it's like, if anyone can think of a place that I can go and do my own stuff but that would be how I would do a small account. It wouldn't be I'm going to take $1,000 and grow it to 100,000, because that shit doesn't exist, right? Or what people do, I'm just going to pull the veil off this right now. Anyone who you've seen, I turned $1,000 into 100,000. Essentially what they do is they open up like $20,000 accounts, and they take these massive bets on all of the different accounts, and most of the accounts get blown up. But then one of them, that massive bet, they'll double the account, and then maybe they take another bet and that doubles and then eventually it gets big. But they've blown up all these other accounts, but that one account has done well, and then they can get those things going, right? So it's I don't know if anyone watches Darren Brown. I'm a bit of a nerd. But he did this thing where he did a TV series where he basically took someone and predicted the horse races for like a year or whatever for one season, and made this person a bunch of money. And everyone lost their mind. They said, how'd he do it? He predicted the horse that was going to win live. And then at the end of the show, he rewound it, and he showed that he did it with like 20 people, and one of them won. And then the rest of them, he made them place the bet, and they lost, and he paid him back his money, and they walked away. So, right, it's the same concept. So if I'm going to do a small account challenge, it would be I'm going to deposit from my income on a regular basis and do that kind of stuff, right? If that makes sense. So sorry. Just saw you from from Mighty Soldiers. It's a friend. He's a good guy. He's doing some work with us at Trade Ideas as well. I thank him for sending people my way. That's great. Very positive dude. I love it. I think it's healthy to see someone cut a losing trade because it happens all the time, but people rarely talk about it. I agree. And that's why I'm thinking of doing this profit and loss where it's like, here's a winning trade, here's a losing trade. And I do a winning trade and a losing trade if I have a losing trade to show on every video. Because again, I want people, right? I know the way, right? If I wanted to become like really big on YouTube, I would just rent a Lambo. I would just, I have some I've had some big trades in my day, right? I would just talk about those. I wouldn't talk about any of the other ones. I would push this out to the masses, and that'd be the way it goes. Yeah, so this self-directed IRA stuff, that's the problem, is I'm up here in Canada, so it's unless he can get some Canada stuff, right? That's the problem. We banned payment for order flow, therefore our commissions are more expensive. Ooh, how do I get rid of that? Boom. Now if I bring this in, does this? Andy is great. Yeah, it's a good guy. Good guy. Okay, so crypto, nothing to do. Bitcoin is just chopping in this mess. I always just like to summarize each asset class before I go to the next one. There's nothing to do here, right? Wait for either, if you want to trade, just pop down to a lower time frame. Understand that you're in a choppy mess on the longer term time frame, and trade that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. On the longer term time frame, we're in a choppy mess here. So I would just sit out, not do anything. Or, right, that other suggestion I gave of taking a short up in here, and if we push lower, then that's great. FX. So I have two FX trades going on right now. If I keep looking down, it's here this time, not over there. We'll get to those. So I don't know if this is a giant topping pattern in Aussie yen or if we're going to get another push higher. So I'm just going to kind of sit out of this one for now. Aussie Kiwi, nah. Aussie dollar, don't see anything there. So this is one trade that I'm in Euro GBP. So we can go through the trade, I guess, if people are interested as a trade review. Massive level right here. We're below that. We bounced off it. That, experiencing some difficulties. I trade Forex off the 1 hour chart. You can see I anchored a VWAP from this kind of that oopsie, right, where it broke through and then came back down. And that kind of brought us to right here. So as we bounced into that and we showed some weakness at this level, I took a short. I covered half of the position on Friday right before the close, and then I still have half the position left here. Just trying to see, again, higher time frame analysis. Looks like this thing could turn lower. So zoomed into the lower time frame, used my anchor VWAP to find a point. Euro dollar, it's just nothing to do there. It's away from everything. Same with these. I find it very hard to trade a lot of these dollar denominated trades. And that's because I forget I always do this, right? The dollar's insane, the dollar thing is just insane, right? We pushed up, we did this big round at bottom. I keep making jokes, the dollar's the new meme stock, but I'm really not serious or not joking at this point. The thing's just a monster. So anything denoted in dollars is going to have an inverse look, right? If you take this and then you look at Euro USD, it's just the opposite of that, right? And if you look at cable, it's just the opposite of that, right? So everything needs the dollar to chill out. So that's a good question here. So do you think I don't know if it has bottomed. It's all based off the dollar, right? So you just have to look. I don't think anyone really cares about the euro right now. It's just has the has the dollar topped. So that's kind of, if you look at a candlestick formation, we've got a candlestick formation here, could have dollared or could have topped. That's fine. And, you know, we've got some bottoming tails and everything down here, so it could. I'm just more of a trend trader, so I'm just going to continue to trade with the trend until I get some sort of reversal signal. So press phi. Right, so we have this obvious downtrend. So what I need to see is I need to see some sort of lower high take place and then a continuation higher. I'm just not one to pick a bottom. That's just kind of the way I trade. This is the other trade I got going on, is this US dollar CAD. Massive level here at kind of 1.3 on the US dollar CAD here. So what I did is I zoomed in to the lower levels. I actually had this trade right here on Friday. I was long right in this area, and then I got out some here, or I got out all there, which is great. And then when it pulled back in, I think my fill, I'm looking down, is right, because I just have the chart right in front of me, is right here, right? So I'm underwater a little bit on this one, just using this anchored VWAP right here as a stop loss. And this was basically just a breakout of a range, pull back into the range, right? Take a bid, stop yourself if it breaks the low of that range, and just kind of see if I can get another little bounce out of that one. So that's just how I'm playing that one. Again, anytime I just analyze something that I'm in, I like to just tell that I'm in and why. And then again, anything here that's got dollar denominations is interesting. This yen, just dollar yen, is interesting to me as well, because if we turn on our RSI here, you can see we have this massive RSI divergence going on. So we have, I'm gonna tweet that as well. So we've got this big old RSI divergence going on. Essentially, if people don't know, RSI divergences essentially just mean that these new highs in price are doing so on less and less momentum. So this is interesting to me. It could mean that we're running out of steam from what this absolute monster, like the yen just sucks and it's just going. So but I need to see something on the lower term time frame, right? So what I'll probably do is I'll probably anchor a VWAP from this high, and maybe if we get a bounce into it, actually let me just, and again, you can just do this with TrendSpider. Instead of me talking about it, I can just set this up and I can go short CJPY, and then it will just tell me if this gets hit. So that's kind of how I would look at that. The same kind of reason that I said on the other ones, that I want to see like a higher low get put in, like there. This would kind of be right, if we're using this as an uptrend, I just want to see it come in, I want to bounce, and then I want to try to predict that lower high to see if that longer term chart will work out, is kind of what I'm thinking. But really nothing else from the FX point of view. This is the main one that I think is interesting to me. Again, anything denoted in US dollars, it's the US side that is more important right now than the other side of things, right? And then when it comes to US CAD, you could kind of look at this as a proxy play on oil, right? If this thing kind of pops up, then maybe, right? Yeah, so the dollar, well, yeah, and I think the dollar strength is just more about it's going to hurt the market as a whole and everything, right? Until the dollar reverses. It may be the most important chart that's out there right now. Do I know Easy Mike from the live chats of the Benzinga show? I don't, but I love talking to charts. I love talking to traders. I'd love to talk to Easy Mike or whoever wants to chat. I'm always down. I might be doing stuff with Refinitiv in the near future. I might be doing some stuff with CNBC in the near future. I love talking about trading. I love, I feel thankful that I can do it kind of anytime I want. So, okay, so that is Forex. Again, I've been saying this. I know people are probably bored of saying it, but I've been saying this for months. The dollar is everything in the Forex markets right now. So I've just been trading, euro short, pound short, Aussie dollar or Aussie yen. I've gotten some good trades in. And the way this thing is going, I'm not going to bet against it until that thing happens. So over here to trade ideas and into normal markets, so to speak. There we go. Push that over. And we'll do let's start on a weekly chart here. Easy Mike is another great guy. Yeah, introduce me. I'd love to chat I love to get more exposure and talk to more people and grow my reach and just shoot the shit with other traders about trading. I think it's all great. So this is kind of where the title of the stream came from. I think this bottoming tail here in the markets may be significant. Last time we saw some bottoming tails was in this area, and then we saw some bottoming tails in this area. Both of them took a bounce. Just like I talked about before with euro and pound, we are in an obvious downtrend, so I'm just not going to call the bottom. I'm going to continue to trade with the trend until it's over. However, right, there's been some really nice bounces already, and we know just from studying and from me from living it for some of them, the biggest bounces happen in bear markets. So if we can get some strength going into next week and kind of break above this high, maybe we get going on the SPY here on the overall weekly chart, and on the daily chart when we zoom in, potentially a lower high forming. And this is always what any technician really should be looking for, is maybe that's a lower high and we push higher, because for us to change, a trend is just higher highs and higher lows. So for the trend to change, it has to be higher lows and higher highs. So to do that, it's gotta push up from there. So if this can kind of get going, maybe above this trend line, things will push higher. But until then, the thing I did want to kind of note for the SPY chart, because again, I take all these screenshots because they all get shared into Stats Edge Pro. Right, this is the only thing we really need to see. Right, we're just range bound. That's all there is to it. No need to overthink it. We need to see a break of that range one way or the other before we get excited. I feel like I'm such a buzzkill as a trader, but I think it's important. I spend most of my time just basically telling people to chill out and chilling out myself. Is that gonna... Damn, why does it do that? Oh, it's because I'm on a different... It's because I'm on a different account. Okay, that's fine. Buzzkill, yes. Wrong, no. It's a good way to put it. It sucks. And I think a lot of people, they'll watch like Wall Street or something. They're like, yeah, I'm going to go and be a trader where everything's exciting all the time. And then you realize that if you're a trader, most things are boring most of the time. And then every now and then you get on a trend of something, and that's nice and fun, and you'll make a bunch of money. But most of the time, things are boring. Last note I had on wheat here, right? This is why we rotate from strength to strength. This was the strongest thing in the market for the longest time, and then it kind of came back down, right? PBW, clean energy, which is interesting. They didn't go to the moon. That was all faked. I kid. I'm not insane. I don't think the world's flat. I know you have to preface that on the internet now, but yeah, don't panic. Don't panic, and don't get too excited either. Just I think equally as important. Right, every time the market bounces, you get these sensational headlines. Right, was that the bottom? Is the bottom in? Blah blah blah. And I think it's maybe just being an old man now, but I don't care if I hit the bottom. I know that if the market's going to go up, it's going to go up for a long period of time. So flat earthers are hilarious. Oh, I know. What was it called? Beyond the Curve or something, which is a documentary on Netflix, where this guy went to like a flat earth convention, and the flat earthers proved that the earth was round like 5 times in this convention that he was following them around in. It was good. So XME is a metals and mining ETF. So think of everything from aluminum to gold to it's a metal or a mining company. Had a nice massive rally here, came all the way back, probably weighed down by gold and how much gold sucks. But you can see, boop, right? You can see this massive, massive level of support. And if you combine this with the fact that the anchored VWAP from the lows here is hitting this as well, this is a big level for metals as a whole. So again, if anyone is new here, welcome. The reason I do this ETF scanning now, I do basically what's called top-down analysis. First, I look at the SPY as the overall market, and then I start to slowly zoom in. What are the individual sectors inside the market looking like? And then into what are the individual names looking like? So I'm not going to trade something like XME, but when I'm doing my scanning later, if I see something that's in metals and mining and would be part of this metals and mining ETF, I have it in my head to say, oh, I think that there's a chance that metals and mining bounces. So that's great. I will take that trade, and I will be more excited with that security than I would be any other security, just because I know it's in kind of in the overall market, right? So Moo is broken. So this is just the same. I go through the same list every single day. Everything you see me do here is what I do every single day. And again, I just wrap up all these things. I just wrap up everything into a nice little blog post, I guess, for lack of a better word, for Stats Edge Pro. But the reason I started Stats Edge Pro is because this is what I do anyway. So it's like if people want to pay $2 a day to get that, plus my access to the trading room, plus my scans, plus the live Q&A and all this stuff, that's great. But if no one signed up, I would still do the same thing anyway. So XBI has been insane in the relative strength department. So again, I'm a relative strength trader. I always want to go to where is strongest for my time frame. And you can see XBI got absolutely shellacked from February to now. What even is this on a percentage? Yeah, 65% lost from February to now. However, it's bouncing right at these COVID lows, put in a double bottom. We were watching that, bounced off that double bottom, and then put in this bull flag. We were watching that bull flag, and now it's setting up another one here. So Again, this is one of those things that I'm kind of interested in this. I'm not going to trade XBI, but when I'm doing my scanning, if I come across some biotechs, then I go, okay, it's I'm interested in the underlying asset. Therefore, the security that I find that from is interesting to me as well. And same with XLV. And so we gotta remove this little shrug emoji. And we have to label this as, I think officially, this is now bear trap. Right? We had this clean support and this clean resistance. We broke through that resistance and now we're back above it. So a little bit of a bear trap here. This one looks very strong as well. So when both of these things occur, all right, I see biotechs and I see healthcare. It means that's probably the sector, because these are showing the most relative strength, that I'll focus in as well, right? So I start our channel. I hope to record and others learn from our experience. That's awesome, man. That's how you have to do it. There's so much kind of horseshit in the trading community of the, right? Again, the guys, I turned 1,000 into 1,000,000. And I feel bad because the people that fall for that are usually people that like really, they're down and out. They want to believe that that's going to occur, and that's something that's a probability of occurring. However, it doesn't. It can, right? Anything, it's probabilistic. You could hit it big. You probably don't, but so I don't know. More beacons of truth in the world, I think, are fantastic. Corn hitting the bottom. I didn't even look. Are futures up or down tonight? Anyone know? I usually use investing.com as just a quick and dirty way to... No, I don't want the Canadian. No one wants to see the Canadian. Oh yeah, so it's up a bit. Just if you didn't know, this is just a nice... Okay, go away. That always yells at me. XOP, another important level here. And if I zoom out and I anchor the VWAP from the COVID lows... No, that was a different index I was thinking of. So we're well above that. So XOP isn't oil, but think of all the things around oil. So like oil refiners, drillers, that type of thing, and that's working well. ARC still sucks. Yeah, I don't. And then gold is still... I see the jokes here. Gold as a hedge. Yeah, this thing... when that big CPI number came out and just tanked. It's like, okay, if anyone ever thought that gold was an inflation hedge, there's your moment, My course on how to win the lotto. Yeah, and again, I feel it's like it's the same people that, that are, maybe they were friends from high school or something, and now they're calling you to try to get them into your MLM. And you're like, generally, if you're doing well in life, you're not doing that. So I kind of feel bad for the people that, and I also dislike the people who tell them that it's possible to make, turn $1,000 into $1,000,000 in 10 minutes using my proven strategy that I'm not going to do myself because reasons. Like, why not just turn $1,000 into $1,000,000 over and over again? If you want to give back, just donate that to charity or something. I believe most are gone now. I think there will always be a breed of the pumpers. I think there'll always be. And I think there's people... So when 2020 happened, right, and we got all these people into trading, I think it was a good thing. Like the guys who, even not the insane conspiracy theorist guys about GME and AMC and stuff, but it did bring a group of people into the market, and those people, some of them will get hit. Well, pretty much all of them got hit by buying Peloton and Zoom and AMC and all these things. Some of them will have been bitten by the trading bug, and maybe they go, okay, now it's time to learn, as opposed to just, right, YOLOing into conspiracy kind of theory stuff. But, give them a second chance, right? Maybe. Yeah, penny stock pumpers have been around since the beginning of time. They'll always be around. And yeah, 2020 and a little bit of 2021, of course they thought it was easy, right? Like, look at this chart. If you held anything for any length of time, it was easy. But where I feel sad is I feel sad for the people who got bought in by like snake oil salesmen that were saying, right, AMC to the moon, GME to the moon, Dogecoin to the moon. I feel bad for people who really got bought in and lost a bunch of money. But I know there's going to be this whole other breed out there. There's going to be two people that got hurt by it. Some are going to, sadly, probably never invest again. And that sucks, right? Because they just got fooled by someone. There's going to be another group that are going to go, okay, right? Anyone who goes, okay, the market's rigged, it's all against me, blah, blah, blah. They have kind of like loser mindsets that are, it's probably best that they don't trade, right? Hopefully they start just dollar cost average into a ETF and retire wealthy in their own way, right? I wish the best to everyone. But the people who go, okay, I got screwed by snake oil salesmen, now it's time to figure out how to do this right. I think there's a whole new breed that kind of comes in. And same thing happened with the tech bubble, right? Everyone was becoming millionaires because you just buy a stock and it goes up. Actually, and I was talking to Stradalorian before, the CEO of Trade Ideas did this, right? Back when the market would trade in halves and quarters and this kind of thing, and everything went up every day. He made a whole bunch of money on just trading really, really easy because there was no algos and all this stuff. And I came into trading, unfortunately, like 8 years later. But then when trading got hard, he built Trade Ideas. He said, okay, I need a way to scan. It's no longer, something put .com into its name, let me go buy it. It's, okay, I need to understand what's moving that day. So now I'm going to build Trade Ideas scanners. And he still trades to this day. I just want to make sure I'm using my phone as my camera. So I just want to make sure it has power. It's really cool, I guess, before we go into stocks, for any nerds. I'm using what they call continuity camera in the new Mac OS. It just links your cell phone to your Mac, and it's got this where it will follow you around, which I think is kind of cool. It's got studio lights, which will darken everything behind me and lighten me. I think that's kind of cool. And this is something I'm still playing with, but it kind of sucks. Like, they call it desk view. It's supposed to look at the, like, I feel like I'm getting dirty here, but there's nothing I can do here. It's supposed to look at the desk, so I can like have something to like write on or something, but instead it just looks at my crotch. But that's kind of cool. So yeah, and it's wireless. So I just opened up my streaming software, it detects my phone as a camera, and it just worked. And it really good resolution too, right? More like your lap. Yeah, I I want it because I thought it'd be cool because I always have this iPad here, right? And it'd be cool to like, I could draw things out if I wanted to talk about them or something, but I just need to get it so that it doesn't focus on my crotch. But okay, so again, equity markets, we're in a range, just like I was saying, crypto's in a range. Just to be Dr. Buzzkill again, everything's in a range. But we are showing some life in the crypto market, or in the FX, in the equity markets. So now what I'm going to do is, part of StatsEdge Pro is access to my watch list. It's not a signal service. Again, I don't believe in the just, do what I do and become a millionaire. The point of StatsEdge Pro is essentially it's a daily look over my shoulders. Again, a trading room if you want to come and shoot the shit. Live or monthly Q&A for just members, access to my scans, and again, my watch list and analysis of the market daily. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to edit this, and we're going to see what the watch list looked like on Friday. We're going to remove any names that are no longer valid, and we're going to start scanning through the names that are NSPY. Oh, the night shares thing. Yeah. It got off to a bad start, it looks like. But that's actually really interesting. Point out there, the ETF, NSPY. Yeah, I heard about this. And it's funny because anyone who's in the room, speak up, because I know I've mentioned this in the room a few times before. But there's a trading strategy that worked for a very long time. I bet you it stops working the moment that this ETF comes out. But the theory was that if you look at what happens if you buy the close of the market and sell the next day open, and then you compare that to buying the open of the market and selling the close, right? So this top line is basically holding overnight, and the bottom line is, refusing to hold overnight. The holding overnight equity curve just beats the shit out of the holding during the day equity curve. Makes sense, right? You have more risk holding overnight, therefore a higher return would make the most sense. So this ETF is supposed to mimic that, in which it buys the close on futures every night and then sells the next open and spends the day roughly in cash. It's very interesting. It feels like it's probably going to top tick the strategy, maybe. Just kind of the way the market works. It's very efficient like that, but it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what's going on there. Do I use the same scan in all market conditions? I use the same style in all market conditions, but I will change scans based off of what's going on in the market. Yeah, it seems like a good idea, but unfortunate timing. The strategy makes sense if you just look at, like, I remember when I went to university, I remember Econ 101, the prof drew, right, a chart like this on the board, right, day one. He walked in, he drew this, and he just said, this is risk, and this is return. Right? He said, this is the universal truth of the world. I'll see you in a week. And he just left. Like that's all he did. He said, he's like, there is one universal truth to the markets, to finance, to the world, and it's this chart right here. And then he just left. And as much as economists are generally speaking wrong, I think in most things, this seems to be a constant, right? The more risk you take, the higher your probability of return, and the less risk you take, the lower return. And it is the way it is. If there's any way to hack this graph, then you become a multi-billionaire. Like if you could exist like here, you're a billionaire. Right? If you can exist here, right, you suck. You know, if you're taking more risk and your return's less than the markets. So it makes sense that this would work is because you're taking more risk, right? So you're kind of probably up in here, right? Where someone who were to do the opposite would buy the open of the market every day and sell the close, they're probably right here, right? They're just taking less risk because at any point you can get out. If you're holding overnight and over the weekend, there can be like a war or pandemic or whatever, and you can get massive gap down. So again, it makes sense. If you were a long-term trader, it might actually be a better investment. Like if you're dollar cost averaging in, might work better. So the list as of last week, this Rovi, I'm going to leave this one on the list. The idea is we just got a strong level here at 5. If we can break 5, that's interesting. TAST, I'm in some of this. I still kind of like the concept of it. Just a little cup and handle here, restaurant company. ACLX, I'm in a little bit of this. I'm about to get stopped out if it closed under this low. But again, I still like the concept. The idea is this is the IPO price, and we're kind of just hanging out at that IPO price. If we can really get going on this one, that's interesting to me. CEG, I'm going to leave this back on the list. I got in and out, but I'll get back in if this thing goes. Again, it's just an energy company. IPO is right here. And then it just has a clean level to play off of. You can see the anchored VWAP acting as support. So, 50, 59, 50, somewhere up in this area. I think that's interesting. MRNO, I'm in this one, but this one's too high now. So this one's got to go. This was a great trade. I got in, I believe right here. I think I'm in around 45. And it's about 47, so we'll see what it does with these highs. If it can break these highs and continue, that's great. If not, it might just be a break even. So we'll just delete that because I don't want it on my watch list anymore because I'm in it and not interested. Merck, I still like the look of Merck. Just a nice, very typical kind of bull flag here. Right, came down, so this could, I guess, be a cup and handle. Just very, very strong. And then we talked about how biotechs and healthcare are doing very, very well. STRA, I picked some up here on Friday. I still like the look of it. I'm going to leave it on the list for an entry, I should say. If I didn't like the look of it, I wouldn't be in it. But just pull back into this anchored VWAP from this high right here. Came back. This is support. Same with playing off this area and this area. So just a nice little pullback play. Hopefully we got a good price in that one. I don't really like this one. I'm just going to get rid of it. I don't know what I was thinking with that one. Just choppy. CERT. Again, going to leave this one on the list. I think I got this one because it just broke. Nope. Not that reason. We're going to remove that. And this thing's chopping in through here. IMIX. I took some of this on Friday, I think. I don't really know why looking at this chart. Maybe I got bored. I'm infallible. I'm not infallible. Basically just breakout, pull back, put in a big bottoming tail here. If this can kind of turn up, that's great. If not, we got an easy level to play off of. DY, with DY, I'm just really playing this long-term resistance, see if I can get over that. LI, I really like the look of this one. My buddy Sean McLaughlin from All Star Options, they took a trade in this as well. I think RTG, I think I was, you were talking about this like here. And I said, hey, I would like this if it based for a while. Well, there you go. So now to me, it looks like a great little bull flag, especially now that it's kind of cleared this area and it's come back to test it a few times and it's held. So if this can get going, I like the look of this one. MVIS, nice little tight bull flag. And VIPS, I think it's time to let, this one's been on the watch list forever. So I think it's time to let this go. So we're going to remove that. So we only have 3 that we can add. I like to keep my watch list at or under 15. So as I think I forgot to say at the beginning, but at the end of these is where I'll go and take a look at your guys' charts. So if you have any charts you want me to take a look at, now is the time. I see some there already. Higher beta version of the SPY. I think so. Right, that's what I think I'm gonna call that overnight strategy, is because unless it flips, right, and then all of a sudden the best performance is intraday, then it has to be a higher beta, right? And if you're taking more risk, I think it has to be a higher beta one as well, right? Do I trade cult stocks? And then there's a perfect answer. I think he trades anything with a good trend setup. That's exactly it. It doesn't matter to me what the stock is. And I don't care if it's a Tesla. Now, I'm not going to trade any of these right now because they're all in pretty dramatic downtrends. And I think all of these things, AMD, NVDA, yeah, it just doesn't matter to me what it is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my trusty scanner here from Trade Ideas, and I'm going to, why is this not working? Let me just do this real quick and reopen. Usually you guys don't see this one, but as you can tell, my parallels was being a bit weird with Trade Ideas there. So this is more of like my real machine. There we go. Select strategies. So yeah, let's do the bull flag. So this is going to look a little bit different than what you guys see, but don't worry about it. This is where Trade Ideas sends me stuff to test new things, and simple linking, link to all. So this is just simple scan looking for bull flags. ABBV is interesting with a what's going on? Oh no, now it's doing this stuff. That's going to be annoying. Hold on. We're going to have to do this a few times. And I might just do it from here, to be honest. We'll do that one, and then we'll do boom. The innovative future food. What? ARKR. Arc restaurants. What's this future food for? ARKR. What does this weirdo do? Or is this like a American thing that I should get? But I don't, because I'm not American. Fast food concepts, operations. Oh, that was a joke named ARC. I gotcha. I'm going to push that out of the way. Garbo stock. What do I think of dry bulk shipping? BDRY. I think I looked at that today. I think that's on my list. BDRY. Man, dyslexia is no fun. Just downtrend, right? Just like everything. It's underneath a lot. It's got to get through all of this before it can really get going. So there's a lot there to deal with. I think it has a downward sloping 50-day. Yeah, see, I don't even need to see the moving average just to know that it probably does, just because it's under a whole bunch. So it would have to get back over this level and then maybe start to build a base before I'd be super interested in that one. Just the way I trade anyway. I'm a simple man. I want a trend in my direction. I want to find a setup that will get me involved in that trend in my direction based off my time frame. And that's it, right? That's all there is to it. You know, I hold for, 3 days to 3 weeks is kind of an easy way to think about it. So for me, I want something that I think is going to be in some sort of an uptrend. So like, even this guy here that's in an overall downtrend, it's putting in a bull flag right here. So this may be interesting. However, I know that this one's, if you take this and now let's just go quickly to XBI, you can see it just looks the same. SYY. Interesting. The other Cisco, not the computer Cisco, but the food Cisco. Isn't that what this is? Like wholesale foods? Looks good for a long-term trade, right? It's holding up well. If it can continue higher, that's great. It does have a lot overhead here to initiate a position right before. But if the risk reward makes sense, if we stall out right here and you can get a good enough price that your risk reward makes sense, then that's fine. Just has a lot of overhead. Again, longer term chart looks like we could be, it could be breaking out here, right? They, just an old school trader thing. They call this the $100 rule. The theory being that if it can get up and through 80, that it's only a matter of time till it hits 100. And then if it hits 100, it's only a matter of time till it hits 120. Right? Just, I don't know if there's any credence in that at all. It's just an old trader saying. As Livermore said, the first 15% and last 15% of stocks are the most expensive to catch, and that is that's true. I love that saying, and I love, was it William O'Neill or was it Peter Lynch who says there is more money lost preparing for a correction than in the correction itself. I love that quote of just, right, everyone's looking for what's going to be the thing that's going to tank the markets, and I need to make sure that I'm not around for that thing that's going to tank the markets. And it's like, there's another old trader saying that if you can't survive a bull market, you can't survive a bear. And there's a lot of people out there that couldn't survive the bull market, right? They kept buying stuff that would go down and all of these different things. And they would refuse, like there's people that are holding Peloton at 100. Like, so again, if you're doing that and you can't survive the bull market, you're going to have a rough time in the bear. Shop, I think Shop looks like hot death. Yeah. There's nothing to, for me as a trend trader, again, my style is real simple. Is the stock doing this? Draw that better. Right? I want to find out a way to get kind of in here or in when it breaks out. And I want to put my stop here. And then when it does this, I want to raise my stop to here. And then when it does this, I want to raise my stop to here. That's it. When I see something like this happen, I say, oh, okay, well, is it going to bounce at some point? Could it bounce to like 60 before selling? Yeah, and there'd be some good money in that. However, just not for me. I don't want to catch falling knives. I don't want to spend my days, doing this gut-wrenching kind of bottom fishing thing. I want to spend my days just knowing where the trend is and just trying to get involved in that trend. Do I trade inverse ETFs? I do, not super often. but I do, in which more or less what I'll try to do is more short term in nature, right? If I think the market's in a downtrend, right, that means that inverse ETF is going to be in an uptrend. So man, alarm.com even got killed. Geez, you'd think if there's a recession coming, having an alarm for your house would be a good thing to have. Speaking of RNG, man, I've given these guys so much money and they're just getting hammered. I live in the middle of the woods for people who are new here, so I've got ring cameras like 360 around the house just in case. I just have the alarm sign. Hey, if it works. SIGA, this thing's might be breaking out here. A little bit too done for me, but the way it goes. Yeah, I really like my ring stuff. I just like that it's on the sign idea. I just like that on my iPad here. I'm probably not going to show it. People will be creepy. You won't really see it anyway, but I get like this kind of dashboard that just shows all the cameras around my house, so I can do a 360 view at any time and just see kind of what's going on. See, I'm being real picky now because I only have 3 spaces on my list, so I don't want to waste any of them with a kind of B plus trade. I want them all to be A plus. A plus or better. What I will do, hold on, let me do this. And this is the main reason I don't show this setup. A is because I actually have my trading account and everything on here, and I don't want to accidentally expose a account number or something. But B, I'm always on like the super experimental version of trade ideas with this one. It's where I like build stuff, but this scanner I did want to go through. And again, this is my ETF or IPO scanner. So everything on here is an IPO that's at or near highs. The idea always being, right, I don't want to try to buy that shitty stock that's gotten hammered. I want to buy something that's at or near highs. And the thing about IPOs is it could just mean that like this one's going to continually, there's no bag holders. Right? So this just sorts everything, all the IPOs by how high it is in its position and range. No. Okay. Just thought I would check. Cool MOE inverse ETFs. Make money in retirement accounts. Yeah, no, it's the same up here in Canada. You're not allowed to short stocks within a retirement account. So I'll do inverse ETFs. weird. There's like, I'm listening to like lo-fi hip hop, and it sounded like there's a baby screaming. And I have a baby who screams a lot. So sorry, I just took my AirPod out to see. This figs is interesting. I know my wife, who is a dental hygienist. She's off now, looking after the new guy, but she raves about these things. Not that that's a reason that I'd ever take a trade. I guess they make like really nice scrubs. Right, we've got level in through here, and then we've got potential kind of cup and handle going on, and then we've got, if it just closes the gap, that's a 20% gain. So this one's a little bit interesting. Nice little short-term uptrend for my time frame. Ideally, again, I want something in a longer-term uptrend, but this might be something to take a flyer on. So what's it like? 10.25 and 9.25. Figs. And then we're going to go through some of the TI Strength stuff, I think, too. That email should be out for anyone who's a TI Strength member, and the website is also updated as well. I hate that you have to do this for TrendSpider. It's annoying. You can only scan one index at a time, so you have to go through and do different indexes each time. I think it's a way for them to save like data fee costs. BJ wholesalers. Yeah, well, and yes, it's at massive resistance. You're right. And also look how it got there. Right? So the way I look at it is like, okay, that might be a little bit overdone because it had to go all the way up to get to that resistance. So if it does something like chops around for a while and gives me a nice base to play off of, that's fine. But, look at it kind of like, if you shoot a cannon at a wall, if the cannonball traveled a huge distance before it got to the wall, it's not going to do as much damage as if you pull the cannon right up to the wall and then shoot it, if that makes sense. AGL is kind of interesting here. Earnings is August, 14 candles away. That's a nice little flag going on there. I might add that one as well. What's Canada's thoughts on nuclear power? We've got some. I'm not even going to read that one. We've got some nuclear plants. I don't think we're building any more or anything right now, but we've got some. We've got a lot of uranium up here, right? So yeah, I think I'm going to add this one. We'll call it like, 27, 25. AGL 27. And this is just a really very, very typical kind of bull flag, right? Nice strength off the bottom here, holding right up tightly into this bull flag. If we pop higher, we don't really have anything until kind of 34. So that would be this is a slow mover, but that would be a nice little play off that. That's what I say. 25. Uranium, I haven't really looked at uranium recently. It's got an interesting level here for sure. Let me actually add this to my ETF scanners here. So it's got an interesting level for sure. It's not, it's not hammered or anything. So no, if uranium could get going as it bounce off this level, that would be interesting. It's kind of just in this massive, right, sideways kind of action, holding right at these lows. So that'd be interesting. I think some like coal. Oh, that's not. LQ. Yeah, coal's right up near high. So what, BTU? That's a coal play. So that's very interesting here for an alternative energy. Actually, oh, it's got earnings soon. Because I think like coal and natural gas was added to like ESG clean energy or something. Did I read that? Again, not that I'd take a trade off that, but it is hilarious. So again, holding support, and it's kind of the same. Yeah, it's certainly, they certainly are in downtrends. I just think that they're all kind of at this level. So what how you'd play it if you were interested in it. Ideally, you want to play the breakout, but if this, this holds here, and then it's all about time frame, right? If you go to a weekly chart, this thing's in an uptrend. If you go into a daily chart, it's been in a downtrend for a while. But if you look at it in comparison to, and this is a lot of what I mean when I mean relative strength. You add a price compare, you add a line, you put in the SPY. Right, you can see that if you mark kind of this area back here, and you look at that same area, you can see that these things, that the SPY is well below this area where uranium's kind of holding up. I guess it's one of those things that I should always leave this chart up because I've kind of got it in my head, but I know that especially for new traders, it might not make a lot of sense. But if I go to URA, which is Uranium ETF, right, and again, these things are marked. So if we start right here, we draw over, and then we draw over from the same area on the SPY, you can see that relatively speaking, uranium's holding up a bit. So not something that I would be too interested in playing in right now, but if you want to take a shot, right, I think you know where you're wrong. Right? If you get a close under these lows here, you go, okay, well, I took my shot. It was at a logical support zone. And I took my shot and didn't work. Because if it breaks this, then, look out to kind of here, which would be a big kind of tank. So I don't know about the fundamentals. I just trade the trends. That's right. So this is basically, oh, cool. Have a good one. I'm going to take fairly soon myself, I think. I got one more spot I'm going to try to fill here. But yeah, so this is mainly how I look at everything. So when someone goes, okay, well, what about Shopify, for example? This is something that I always got to keep in mind. That I have this in my head, but a lot of people don't, right? So again, just go back and look at the COVID lows. And then here's the COVID lows in the SPY, and we're that far above it. And then there's the COVID lows on Shopify, and we're getting killed, right? So this is obviously relatively weak. So the question is, where do you want to put your money? Do you want to put your money into something that looks like this, or do you want to put your money into something that looks like that? And saying, what were the other ones? NVIDIA, right? Again, just go back to kind of the same area. Oh, damn. Let's just do this. And then do this. So NVIDIA might not be looking as bad as I thought, but again, still a prolonged downtrend. And then let's grab something from the list. I don't know. Let's grab the strongest thing, Merck, right? This is the easiest thing to kind of show my trading style. SPY do this, Merck do that. So again, which of them do you think has a higher probability of trading higher? I really think that there's two things that happen when people really want to spend their time bottom fishing. One is they think the bottom of the chart support, right? And even if it's, subconscious, you say the bottom of the chart here, look, we're at the bottom of the chart, we're at support, right? It can always go lower. Luna, it's a good example for it can always go lower. That can't be right. It's not up to that amount. What are we on? Shop. So it can always go lower. The other thing I think that happens in people's minds is they just look at it and they say, well, right, if we just get back to highs, we only need to get back to highs, and that's like 5 times my money. But the thing is with a lot of these things is you're never getting back to highs. And the example I always give is Microsoft. Right, let's go out on a monthly chart on Microsoft. So right here was the dot-com bubble highs. And then right here was 16 years later. So if you had just said, okay, I'm going to hold Microsoft because it got hammered a lot, then it took you 16 years for it to make new highs. But you would just wait and you had bought it as it made new highs. You got the best part of the run without needing to catch the bottom, right? Even if you had owned the market, right, you're making money way before you are on something like Microsoft. And the reason I choose this is because for every one Microsoft, which, you could almost have told at the time that Microsoft wasn't going to go bankrupt, but for every one Microsoft, there is 100 pets.com, Blockbusters, like all kinds of stuff that went bankrupt. So if you were clever enough to pick one of the ones that would survive, you still had to wait 16 years to get your money back. So again, for me, the concept is really, really simple, right? If it's something like a Peloton. Now, if Peloton sets up with a nice cup and handle play, and I think I could buy it and hold it for a few days, I'm going to trade it. But, right, there's been people trying to buy this thing all the way down. And I think, again, part of it is they see it's at the low end of the chart, so that's support in their mind, but it doesn't have to be. And they look at the fact and they say, man, I could get it. It goes back to $170 per share and I buy it at $8. Like, no, maybe you could buy it at $8 if it sets up nicely and then sell it at 15 or so, but it needs to set up nicely. And you need to know that there is so many bag holders. Anybody who's bought Peloton, I think ever, is down money. Yeah. If you're holding Peloton from any point in history, you're wrong. And then last but not least, on this rant that I don't think anyone asked for, is you can see a lot of the same thing on the meme stocks, right? So you had your, didn't need emojis, right? You had your initial spike, and then the next spike was a lower high, and the next spike was a lower high. move that out. Just make it easier, right? And your next spike was a lower high. And your next spike was a lower high. Your last spike's a lower high. The reason this happens is because there's people that are stuck in GME from here. And the loud ones on Twitter will pound their chest and say, I'm never selling. I'm not going anywhere. But most of them say, man, if we ever get up to here, if we ever get back to my entry, I'm selling. So you get that spike and then people sell. Then you get that spike and then people sell. And right, probably going to do this all the way to nothingness. It might take years, but in the meantime, same with the AMC people, right? You had your spike, and you had a lower high, and a lower high, and another lower high, and then maybe another lower high happening here. It's, say, 6 years from now, AMC, or 16 years, let's use the Microsoft example, it gets to $70 a share again. That's great. And a lot of people look at that and say, listen, I'm right. I held AMC for 16 years and I finally got my money back. It's like, yes, but what people don't understand is the opportunity cost, right? You held an asset that did nothing for an incredibly long period of time. So anybody who's here, right, and they're in, 2021, it's like, man, you could have done so much if you had just learned some basic concept of relative strength. Just buy the stuff that's going up and stay out of the rest. Last thing I'm going to check here is here on TI strength. I'll put Mike, they're going to the moon. Oh yeah, sure they are. Someday, I'm sure. I think some people become loud about their stock, hoping someone will buy the bag off them. I think that's a lot of it. It's the people who are railing on XYZ guy is evil. Like, yeah, probably, right? What is it? The Citadel guy is evil, and this guy's evil, and that guy's evil, and the SEC is doing nothing. It's like you might be right on all of that. The issue is, what are you going to do about it? Right? Is your time better spent to like feed your family on yelling about it on Twitter, or is your time better spent taking your hits, saying, yeah, some shysters got me, I got, happens to everybody, and then on to the next thing? Yeah, I gotta get this fixed. So yeah, this is the TI strength alerts. This is a relative strength system that I came up with that I get a lot of my trades from. And I see one right here that's interesting to me. ELF. Looks good, right? You just got to get through, right? So if your risk reward up to 33 makes sense, that's great. You got to get through that. Nice uptrend though. So just know you've got that resistance. If it can get over that, I think you got a good one. So just make sure that, you understand that resistance there. So if you can get a good trade, then you can go from there. Same kind of thing I'm looking at is at SGen, right? So I saw this from TI strength and I like it. If it breaks above here, I just need to note that up here, I could have some issues. But for me, oh damn, how long? July 28th, that's not enough. Yeah, GME is the new blockbuster. And I traded GME during the height of the insanity. So I'll trade them, but I know their trades, right? But yeah, as a I don't even think I'm allowed to say I'm a gamer anymore. I don't play enough, but I played a bunch of Elden Ring before the baby came. But for someone who used to be a pretty serious gamer, GameStop has no reason to exist. This BFB is interesting. Yeah, I think I'm going to put this one in the last one. BF.B, winemaker. I already own Tap. Just have like an entire booze portfolio. 72.69. Boom. All right, so there's the list completed. Okay, guys, it is 9:30 my time, so I need to go because I need to put together everything for the Stats Edge Pro members to get them all good to go. So again, thank you everyone for hanging out. It was a blast. Again, with the Stradalorian, I've got a new series coming, and with that Profit and Loss, I've got a new series coming. So that's 2 new series for the channel that will be out fairly soon. And again, I do this same time, this same place, every Sunday. Please come back. If you can hit like on your way out, hit the thumbs up button. That would be fantastic. It helps the algorithm, share my stuff to people. Yeah, and stay tuned for those 2 new series. I'm happy that we're starting to sleep some, so I can start to kind of get back into the swing of things and do a little bit more on YouTube when it comes to try to education and educating traders and that type of stuff. So I'm subscribed now. Awesome. We got one. So thank you very much for coming out. I see all the likes coming in. I very much appreciate that. I will talk to you guys soon. Trade safe out there.